Follow me on Twitter to have your say on what video I make next. The next poll will be up soon. This is the original MacBook Air released in January of 2008. That's more than 10 years ago. This model, the lower end one, cost a hefty 2,499 Australian dollars upon its release. The model with an SSD and a faster processor cost an insane $4,338. Adjusted for inflation, those two models would cost around $3,000 and $5,200 today. So, definitely not a cheap laptop. How does this one perform more than 10 years after its release? Let's find out. The machine I have here has definitely been well used. It's got quite a few scratches and some small dings on the corner. I paid around $190 for it on eBay. Perhaps I overpaid. I just really wanted to get an original MacBook Air though. Even though it's over a decade old, it still holds up fairly well in terms of its design and its looks. From a distance, it looks like any other MacBook Air. It has a backlit keyboard, a large glass trackpad, and a slim design. However, the first generation of MacBook Airs had the ports tucked away under this door. I remember when this first came out, there were so many people complaining about the lack of ports. Oh, if only they knew what Apple had in store for them. Honestly, the selection of ports is enough to get you by. You've got the MagSafe power connector, a headphone jack, a single USB 2.0 port, as well as a micro DVI display output. When it comes to general usability, the battery life on this model lasts somewhere around 2 to 3 hours browsing the internet and watching YouTube videos. The keyboard is also far nicer to type on than the modern butterfly style keys found on the 12-inch Apple MacBook. Although comparing these two models side by side, you can clearly see which one is thinner and lighter. I think the original MacBook Airs strike a good balance and are great to use. So, what exactly can you still do with one? Well, for starters, the newest Mac operating system it's compatible with is 10.7.5, so there are definitely some limitations with software compatibility. Running YouTube was fine, as well as general web browsing. I actually wrote the whole script for this video on this laptop. I was going to test out Minecraft, however it simply didn't work. Team Fortress also didn't work, and Terraria ran really bad. Running Geekbench provided some expected results. Unsurprisingly, the Intel Core 2 Duo P7500 1.6GHz CPU did not perform well at all. So, outside of web browsing and like one game that actually worked, what else can you do? Well, running an older version of Photoshop also worked fine. You could definitely edit photos and video on here if you really had to. So, is it worth buying an old, original model MacBook Air? If you're only doing very basic tasks and don't mind the quirks of a first generation product, then yes. If you can find one cheap and in good condition, I'd highly recommend it. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and cast your vote for what you want me to review next. I'll see you in the next video.